जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राध माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय राध माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राध माधव कुंजा बिहारी। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Ashtoder Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Ashtoder Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्रीलादास ठाकुर की जय. श्री रूप शिष्णातन भद्र रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भद्रदत्त रघुनाथ सद्गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय. प्रेम से गो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि घोर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोदान की जय. ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगामाई जमुनामाई की जय. श्रीमती तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय. सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय. ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories, Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we are continuing reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 12. Today's text is text number 12, Rahugana's conversation with Jad Bharat. Rahugana etat tapasya nayati na cha ijhaya nirvapanada grihad va na chanandas neva jalangi suryer vina mahat pada raja abhisekam. Raghunandan Rahugana eta tapasyana yati na jaya jaya nirvapanad grahadya va na chadasa naiva jalangni surya vina mahat pada rajobhisekam. Anyone? Ruganaya Vasyavati Nachaya Jaya Nirvapahada Grihadva Sasanaiva Jagni Vina Mahatpada Rajobhisekam. Rahuganaita tapasyanayati na jaya na pada grahadva na chandasa naiva salangi surya vina mahat pada rajobhisekam. Others? Rahugana tapasyanayati naiva pada grahadva naiva jalangi surya vina mahatpado rajobhisekam. Rahugana, O King Rahugana, etat, this knowledge, tapasya, by severe austerities and penances, nyayati, does not become revealed, na, not, cha, also, ijhaya, by the great arrangement for worshipping the deity, nirvapanat, or from finishing all material duties and accepting sannyas, griha, from ideal householder life, va, or, na, nor, chandasa, by observing celibacy or studying the Vedic literature. Naiva nor Jala Angi Surya by severe austerities such as keeping oneself in the water, in the burning fire, or in the scorching sun. Vina, without. Mahat, of the great devotee. Padaraja, the dust of the lotus feet. Abhisekam, smearing all over the body. Purport and translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Prabhupada. My dear King Rahugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of a great devotee, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of a household life, leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyas, or undergoing severe penances in the winter by keeping oneself submerged in the water, or surrounding oneself in the summer by fire or the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee. Purport. Actual knowledge of transcendental bliss can be bestowed upon anyone by a pure devotee. Vasudeva Durlabha Adurlabha Atma Bhakto. One cannot attain the perfection of spiritual life simply by following the directions of the Vedas. One has to approach a pure devotee. Anya vilasita sunyam jnana karmadi avyartam. By the grace of such a devotee, one can understand the absolute truth, Krishna, and one's relationship with him. A materialistic person sometimes thinks that simply by executing pious activities or remaining at home, one can understand the absolute truth. That is denied in this verse. Nor can one understand the absolute truth simply by observing rules and regulations of brahmacharya, celibacy. One only has to serve a pure devotee. That will help one understand the absolute without fail. Om Jnana Trimindandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuzulmitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyecha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this verse it is very interestingly mentioned that, of course, there are many different processes of attaining absolute knowledge or self-realization. But in this particular day and age, it is mentioned, of course, this was spoken, written by 5,000 years ago, or around 5,000 years back, by Vyasadeva, and he's saying that one can only get the blessings of the pure devotee through which one can realize transcendental knowledge. Now, we know that there is that one verse called Yashya Bhakti Paro Deva, that one who has implicit faith in the words of the Guru and Krishna, all the Vedic imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed to that person. So here it is mentioned by Jad Bharata to Rahugana that if you want to get absolute knowledge and understand the transcendental science of self-realization, then one must take shelter of a pure devotee. And of course, it is mentioned here, one must smear the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee. Now, sometimes we think that we have to actually go physically and scrape the dust from the feet and then put all over your head, and boom, absolute knowledge will come and you will become self-realized. It doesn't happen like that. Just like, sometimes there was this Ramakrishna Paramhams and his disciple Vivekananda. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he blessed Vivekananda with his hands. And he said, now that I have transferred all my knowledge onto you. If that was the case, we have very good fortune many times that we get blessings from many wonderful Vaishnavas, senior devotees, those who are gurus. They come and bless you on the head. And all of a sudden, boom, the light doesn't come up here. We don't get self-realization. What it means here when he says, by smearing the whole body with the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee, is to hear from him. When the pure devotee is speaking the transcendental knowledge, that knowledge is because he is speaking from a realized platform, therefore he can give you this knowledge. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita he is saying, Tadudi prani pratena pariprashna sevaya. Now you approach a spiritual master, make pariprashna, make inquiries and questions submissively to the person, and then that person, because he is self-realized, in that same verse, he is jnaninas tattva darshina, means he is fully self-realized in the tattva of science of self-realization. Therefore, he can give you. And also in the purport is mentioned by Prabhupada here, that simply by reading Vedic literatures, you will not get self-realization. You have to have someone who is going to first explain to you and second bless you. So just like, you decide all of a sudden that you want to become a medical doctor. So you go to the best library in town and pick up all the books which are teaching you medical science. And you read thoroughly every single book. Now that you have read every single book about medical science, does that mean now you can become a doctor? Does that mean that now you can practice medicine? No. You actually have to go to a bona fide university, a bona fide medical college, and there they will teach you the subject matter under an able-bodied professor who is fully realizing the knowledge of medical science, you can say. And then because he has understood the medical science, he can train you, he can explain to you the intricacy of medical science. And eventually, under his guidance, you become qualified to practice medicine. So similarly, this is just material science. Now, when you're talking about spiritual science, you have to approach a bona fide spiritual master who will reveal this knowledge to you. It is not that just because you have read some scriptures that you are now well versed in the scriptures, but you are not realized. Just like sometimes we have seen in our movement also, many wonderful erudite scholars. They have memorized all the slokas, and they are so expert at slokas that they can just sit there and roll off sloka after sloka after sloka. And he can speak maybe 50, 20, 100 slokas. And you say, wow, this person is very, very learned person. But then when it comes to actual practice of self-realization, it is zero. Just like Prabhupada says, that you buy one of those parrots who has the ability to speak, and then you put the parrot in the little cage, and then every day with the parrot you go and speak to the parrot. Who's the pretty boy? Who's the pretty boy? And after some times, the parrot learns, and he keeps saying, who's the pretty boy? Who's the pretty boy? Then we teach, okay, now we move on from the pretty boy business. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So the parrot starts saying, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But when the parrot is attacked by the cat, what does the parrot do? He just squawks. There's no Hare Krishna coming out. But as we understand by Prabhupada's teachings, that if we are practicing Krishna consciousness with sincerity, under the guidance of spiritual master, and not just spiritual master, but spiritual masters. Because, one may have one initiating spiritual master, but then we have many Shiksha Gurus. There is no limit to Shiksha Gurus. And in the Nectar of Instruction, it is very clearly mentioned that there is no distinction between a Shiksha Guru and a Diksha Guru. They are both giving you the same. So, in our line, you can say the knowledge can be received either through Diksha Guru or through Siksha Guru, and it is equally valid. Just like, for example, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. He is not a direct disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He did not take initiation from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But at the time, he was a contemporary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and very, very renounced person. Of course, now we know from Srila Prabhupada that Gaur Kishodas Babaji was basically illiterate. He was not highly educated. But he was self-realized because he got the mercy from his guru. And because of his guru's mercy, he gave the knowledge via transcendental transfer. And Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj was a highly realized person. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent his son, Vimala Prasad at the time, to go and take shelter from Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. Then he went to him and took the initiation from him. So from Jagannath Das Babaji to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's a Siksha connection. There's no Diksha connection because Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is not initiating guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru is Bipin Bihari Goswami. So there is Siksha connection and there's Diksha connection. So we should not be so much caught up that there should be only Diksha. Sometimes it happens that once a person takes initiation from a very wonderful Vaishnava, well situated in his Krishna consciousness, but that Vaishnava departs this world. And the new disciple is maybe only 6 months initiated. So that new disciple did not have sufficient association with the spiritual master or the Diksha Guru to gain association and hear from him. Then what happens to this young person? As Nectar Instruction describes, that you can take shelter from Shiksha Gurus, who are also equally qualified, who are equally coming in the parampara. So you can get shelter from them and get knowledge. So basically, when it's mentioned here that we have to take the dust from a pure devotee, not necessarily it has to be one spiritual master. It can be any senior Vaishnavas. Of course, during the time of Prabhupada, when Prabhupada went to America, he was the only spiritual master known to the early devotees who came to take shelter from Prabhupada. There were no other gurus, except that by Prabhupada's mercy he would describe, his godbrothers who were in India. And they were also initiating, like Siddhar Maharaj and Bhakti Vallabh Puri Maharaj and Puri Maharaj and many other great Vaishnavas. Prabhupada's own sannyas guru, Keshav Maharaj. So all these wonderful Vaishnavas were there, but nobody knew them, at least in the West. The only person in the West was known was Prabhupada. And by Prabhupada's mercy, he actually gave this wonderful association of his to his devotees who came to him. Now just imagine the power and potency of a pure devotee by giving his association and by hearing from him the transcendental subject matter, how much impact it has on an individual. So all those new devotees, as Prabhupada described them as young boys and girls from America, Prabhupada would say. And these young boys and girls from America would come to Prabhupada with no cultural understanding of Krishna consciousness, no cultural understanding of Vedic philosophy. All they are brought up is in the American dream, the American culture. So they were very young persons, but they were sincerely seeking an alternative to the social life they were living, because they were very frustrated with at that time in the 60s, when there was a lot of strife, and they're just coming out of the Second World War, and all of a sudden America is boasting its pride and goes into war with Vietnam, so sends young people to Vietnam, and it was just going crazy. So young people were looking for something alternative. And their good fortune was that Srila Prabhupada came. And when Prabhupada came, he gave his wonderful association. He gave them the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and associated with them. And through that, these young boys and girls immediately become a little bit knowledge in the science of spirituality, to the extent that they could go now and preach. Now, can you imagine that a young person who has just joined, just less than 1 year of association of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, now you go and open another center. So some devotees went to Boston, some went to San Francisco, some went to Canada in Montreal, and all they had was what they heard from Prabhupada. They didn't have what we have now. We have a whole stock of literatures printed by BBT. We have, go upstairs in the library, you'll see tons and tons of books. We have all access to knowledge. Those devotees, they did not have a handbook. Bhagavad Gita was only printed in 1972. So up to that point, they were only hearing from Prabhupada. So they didn't even have a personal copy of Bhagavad Gita to take with them as a reference book. But because they heard from Prabhupada, and because they're sincere, and it's mentioned here that if you have the blessings of a pure devotee, and you smear your body with the dust from him, I don't say it's literally, they were scraping dust from Prabhupada's feet, but they were hearing his transcendental voice and hearing this knowledge, and that had impact into their heart, and it was awakened. So the knowledge was awakened in their heart, and then they were able to go and preach. And not only just preach, but they were able to convince many others to come and join them. And then you see, as they become a little bit more familiar with opening centers in America, Prabhupada was not happy with just America. He wanted the whole world. So he sent some devotees to Europe, some to Russia, some to Africa, and then he went himself to India and took some devotees to India. And he started his preaching, and all of a sudden, by 1970, everything was moving so fast, and so many young people were coming and taking shelter of this knowledge. Now, you can imagine that this is not something ordinary. Prabhupada had tremendous power invested in him. So we actually acknowledge Prabhupada as Shaktivesh, an empowered personality who has been blessed by the Supreme Lord directly to take this message to everyone. So here, we can understand the potency of a pure devotee, just by association, just like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioned, sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. That even little association, labha matra. Labha matra means a moment's association of pure devotee can have tremendous impact on you. And that impact will go deep into your heart and awaken the sleeping soul, or awaken the dormant love for Krishna. And immediately you'll begin to develop love for Krishna. But then, when that love is awakened, you have to nourish it. If you do not nourish that love which is awakened in your heart, then what happens? It goes back to sleep. Just like, we are practicing Krishna consciousness, and our discipline is that we wake up early in the morning. So you set up your alarm clock at 3 o'clock, 3:30, depending on the individual, and then the alarm goes beep, 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 and you wake up and you go. Snooze button. The psychology, you think snooze means another 5 minutes. But another 5 minutes is not going to make that much of a difference. But mentally we think, no, 5 more minutes. And before you know it, you're so deep in your own snooze that when eyes open, it's 8 o'clock. So you go back to sleep. Even though Krishna is waiting for you and he wants to give his divine audience and bless you and give you an auspicious beginning to the new day, but somehow we go back to sleep. And same situation is the dormant love of Krishna in the heart. When it's awakened by the mercy of the pure devotee and other devotees who are helping us in our spiritual life by giving their association, what happens? That's the love of God that is awakened, goes back to sleep. And when it goes back to sleep, then you lose again, until you awaken again. Now, of course, a devotee of the Lord, he is full of compassion in his heart. So he will do his level best to keep waking you up. Sometimes you see during the morning, after the curtains are closed, and the pujari begins their morning seva for the lordships, and the rest of the devotees, they do a quick circumambulation of Tulsi Maharani and seek her blessing, and then you stick your hand in the japa mala and sit down. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Very enthusiastic. And after 10 minutes, Hare Krishna, Krishna, and go to sleep. And when you go to sleep, there's no chanting. But there are other Vaishnavas around saying, hey, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, wake up. Oh, yes, Hare Krishna. Hare. So you'll be woken up again out of the compassion of the devotees. And when you awaken, then you know in your awakened state what our business is. Especially that time of the morning is most important, that when we chant the holy name, it is more receptive, because your mind is still fresh and it's not clogged up with the day's activities. So the point is that devotees are very kind, very compassionate, and they will help you wake up. And here, as Jat Bharat is saying to King Rahugana, that unless until you take shelter of a pure devotee, your position as a king is meaningless. You may be the best, in terms of your executing kingly duties, but it doesn't make anything. So here we see that Jat Bharat is actually instructing Rahugana about his duty. Now, by his activities, we know that he is not a very good king, because he's abusing his citizens. Because in the earlier verses it's mentioned that he picks up his citizens or his servants and then make them lift the palanquin without giving even any money or anything. He's just saying, I'm the king, this means you have to just serve me. And he was abusing his citizens. So therefore, he wasn't even a good king. Now, a good king, as we discussed a few days back, was Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj is considered an empowered person with what kind of empowerment? To become a perfect king. So when he was established on the throne after the demise of King Vena, he established the rightful position of a king and engaged all the citizens in yagyas along with their other duties. And because they were performing these duties under the guidance of the king, they were getting all the success in their lives. So here, of course, in the purport, Prabhupada is also mentioning, in the verse is saying that simply following rules and regulations is not going to make you self-realize. Rules and regulations are there to guide us, but it will not give you self-realization. Similarly, it is mentioned here that if you practice just brahmacharya, or you follow the duties and regulations which you have to perform as a householder, or a vanaprastha, or even a sannyasi, it's not going to give you self-realization. What is going to give you self-realization is that these different positions will give you a sense of understanding of what your duties are. Of course, in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says to Arjuna that perform your duty perfectly. Do your duty. And even if somehow, sometimes, those duties which you are executing, which is due to you, and you perform imperfectly, then that is also okay. Because what you are looking for here is sincerity. So if sometimes you have a particular duty which you have to perform, but you're not an expert, but you are sincerely trying, then that is accepted by Krishna as perfect. So even Krishna is saying to Arjuna, it is better to perform your duty imperfectly than perform another person's duty perfectly. So here, of course, Arjuna wanted to give up the Satriya dharma. He didn't want to fight. Jai Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki jai, Sri Gonita ki. He wanted to abandon his duty as a Kshatriya. So Krishna is saying that even if you perform imperfectly, it's okay, but perform your duty. So in this verse, many things are covered here, that one must perform one's duty under proper guidance. Then that person who is guiding you will take you step by step in the process of self-realization. And this process is very, very simple. There is nothing complicated in this process of bhakti. I've mentioned many times this, that we think that there must be some very elaborate activities which we have to perform and rituals to become perfectly situated in our devotional life. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given a very simple process. He's saying, all you have to do is take shelter of the holy name and just chant. So the Lord himself is advising us that we take shelter of the holy name. Now, in what way we have to chant the holy name? We just take shelter of the holy name under the guidance of a devotee who is teaching us the process of bhakti. And, of course, great saintly persons like Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami have put it in writing for us. Like when we just had a program here on Sunday of initiation. And the initiation process, there is teaching the new initiates of chanting the holy name, but in what state of condition you should chant, that you must try to avoid all the offenses against the holy name. And there are 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord, and we must be very, very conscious and mindful of these 10 offenses against the holy name. Because if we make offense against the holy name, then everything is finished. In the second canto of Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that even if we make some offense against the Lord himself, the Lord will forgive us. Because he knows that we are conditioned living entities. We are not perfect. We are trying to do our best. So in the process, if you make a mistake, the Lord will be forgiving. But if you make an offense against the holy name of the Lord, then there is no forgiveness. Only the holy name can forgive you. So we have to actually pray to the holy name. And that is why all these instructions are given to us to avoid any offenses against the holy name. Now sometimes, after a little practice of Krishna consciousness, we know the 10 offenses against the holy name, and we don't take it very seriously. We are not very mindful of these instructions and understand this. I don't know if we do it here in the Zurich temple, but when I first joined at the manor, every morning after the morning program is concluded with the Mangalati and Nrsimha prayers and Tulsi Puja, all the devotees would sit there and then either in unison or one by one, they will mention each of the 10 offenses against the holy name. So we are reminded that these are the 10 offenses which we should be mindful of. And after that, everybody puts their hands in the japa mala and starts chanting. Now already, because we are now chanting the holy name, and we are reminded about the 10 offenses against the holy name, so we should be very, very mindful of this. And as you are more and more mindful, then you will be very conscious not to make any offense. Now generally, the first offense, and I said this is the easiest one to break, because we take it so lightly. He says, one should not blaspheme a devotee of the Lord who has dedicated his life in preaching and chanting the holy name of the Lord. So, we become very much offensive against our fellow devotees. We find there's this, sometimes we get on very nicely with one devotee, another devotee we kind of have a dispute, or we can't connect with that person due to some ego clash, and then we make offense against that person. Or sometimes, out of our own envy, we see that another devotee is doing so nicely and is very enthusiastically performing his or her duty, and we feel envy against that person. because we are not getting the same respect and honor as that person. So subtly or grossly, we break this first one. And if you do that, then even before you started your devotional journey, you started with the offense. And as soon as that offense is done, Nam Prabhu closes the mercy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is one Prabhupada saying that Nam is so merciful that it will fulfill all your desires, good or bad. So also, we have to be very conscious, as Prabhupada mentions that if you have some very unsavory desires in the heart, and then you go Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, Nam Prabhu saying, yes, okay, you have this desire, fulfill it. So all your undesirable desires will be fulfilled. So one must be very careful, because sometimes devotees put this question, I'm practicing this for so long, and I'm chanting Hare Krishna every day, but I don't feel I'm making that advancement. Because Prabhupada's statement was what? Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So we are all chanting Hare Krishna, but we are not happy 24/7. Sometimes we are happy, and most of the time we are under the influence of modes of nature, and we don't feel happy. But the reason is that we have so many desires in the heart, and the holy name is fulfilling these desires of yours. So we have to be very, very careful that in what consciousness we chant. And if we chant in a good consciousness, with the desire to become fully surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna and serve in the spirit of devotion, then that is what now the holy name will grant you. Otherwise, you'll fulfill all the other desires also, along with your one desire, which is to become a devotee. So that is there also, but there is also desire other things. So when you have so many other desires, and Nam Prabhu is fulfilling this, then it is very difficult for you to make advancement. We know that example Prabhupada gives, that you are on the bank of a river, you sit in your nice boat with the nice pedals, and you start paddling. Keep paddling. And you paddle for an hour or so, and you find the boat is not moving. Why it's not moving? Because the rope is tied to the anchor on the bank. So as soon as you realize, I'm tied here, you untie that, and then with the first stroke, immediately boat starts moving forward, and every other stroke keeps moving forward and forward and forward. So you can go across very easily. But if you are tied back, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to go forward. So similarly, in our hearts, if we have so many desires lurking very deep, and this desire is not just in this life. We have brought all these desires from our past many millions of lifetimes. It's so deep-rooted that it's very difficult to weed it out. Just like, if you are a gardener, and you see that in the garden sometimes there are very stubborn weeds, and you go and you pull it out, and you say, now garden is free from weeds. And then a week later you come back and you see the weed has sprouted again. Because the roots are still very deep. You have to go deep down and root it out from the root itself. Then it will not come back again. So same with the desires which are so deep-rooted in the heart, we have to pull them out. And sometimes we cannot pull them out ourselves. We need help of fellow devotees who will remind us, yes, this is not very good. This is not good consciousness. This is not good desire. Pull it out. And they will help you pull out with good association. So it's not just literally you can do it yourself, but sometimes we need good association. That's why Prabhupada also mentions very nicely in all a lot of purports, saying that always be in association of devotees. When you are in association of devotees, then the devotees can see your desires. You may not see them. Just like, if you want to see your face, how are you going to see your face? Every one of you sitting here, you can see my face. But I cannot see my face. Now, in English there is saying the face is the index of the mind. So what is in my mind will be seen on my face. But I can't see that. But all people who are around me, they can see my face. And they may say, well, he seems very cheerful or he seems very sad. So immediately, whatever the state of my mind is, that will be seen on the face. But you cannot see yourself. So same thing with all these desires and attachments which we have in the heart, we may not be able to see them. The devotees can. So they will help us, remind us that this is your state of your condition. Free yourself from this condition. And as we are doing that, then slowly these weeds are coming out. All desires are coming out. When the desires are coming out, then you'll be free and chanting the holy name with purity. Just like yesterday, one Mataji came to see me and said, I'm chanting every day, but my mind is wandering everywhere. Well, it's the nature of the mind, to wander. So you have to focus. And we have been told constantly, Shravanam, Kirtanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Hearing and chanting, hearing and chanting. And if your hearing and chanting is coordinated properly, then Smaranam takes automatically, remembrance of the Lord. But what we are doing is we are chanting and so I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to finish this work, I got to go here, I got to call this person. So you are all over the place, not concentrating on chanting. You have to focus. If you focus in chanting, then it becomes perfect chanting. And we are constantly reminded that we have to chant with attention. And the 10 offenses against the holy name, we are very familiar. And then in the nectar of devotion, when the 10 offenses are mentioned, there's one more Prabhupada has added by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. So we have to focus our minds on the chanting and bring it back every time. So I give this example that you have a dog and he's on a leash, and sometimes he's trained so well that he will walk along with you. As soon as you take one step forward, the dog will take one step forward. But sometimes the dog becomes a little bit like our mind, because he has also his own mind. So he starts wandering, sniffing around, and he goes, and then you have to pull the leash back. Come. Steady, boy. Hit. I don't know how you say, but in England we say hit means come by me, don't move. And the dog immediately understands the master's voice and he comes back. And then after some times, again he wants to wander. You pull him back. Now, our mind is like that, like the dog. It wanders and you have to pull it back. So regularly, if you practice that, then at some stage, the mind will be so much under your control, just like the dog. When you have a good, nicely trained dog, if you tell the dog sit, the dog will sit in that place and it will not move. And sometimes the dog is thirsty and he can see with his eyes there's a bowl there of water and he sees the water. But he will not go and drink it. He's thirsty. And he's looking like this and looking for his master for permission. He's not tied or anything, but because he's been ordered to sit. So similarly, our mind, when we train it, then it will be like that. It won't wander. Because the tendency of the mind is to wander all over the place. So, who is the master? Is the soul. And the soul is accompanied by intelligence, mind, and ego. But because the mind is not trained so well, so the mind begins to tell the soul, you may be the master, but I'm the controller here. So the mind controls the soul. And then the soul becomes so submissive to the mind that it loses its position as a controller. Because we all understand by description in the scriptures given, the soul is accompanied by mind, intelligence, and ego. So these are three assistants of the soul. But the soul, then what happens? It becomes, the mind becomes so controlling that the soul has to become submissive to the mind, rather than the mind becoming submissive to the soul. So this process of Krishna consciousness, with good understanding, good association, and practice, we can actually control our mind and bring it under our control rather than the soul becoming under the control of the mind. Because when the soul is under the control of the mind, then the soul has no independence, has to do what the mind tells. The mind goes, go there, think like this, think like that. And the soul has to then become so entangled with the mind that you lose focus. So the whole idea is to bring focus of the mind, and train the mind so that the mind is completely under your control. And when the mind is under your control, it will not wander anywhere. In the morning, you know that this is japa time. You tell the mind, japa. The mind says, yes, sir. And he sits there and focuses in remembering Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Otherwise, the mind says, hey, I'm going to wander here, I'm going to wander there. And mind is such, Prabhupada says, the power of mind is that it can go all over universe and come back in a moment. See how powerful the mind is. We talk about in science the speed of sound, the speed of light, but the speed of mind is mind-boggling. You may be sitting here and you want to think about, say, something happening on the other side of the world, and you start thinking about Australia. And the mind is already in Australia. Your body is here, but the mind is in Australia. So fast, even faster than the speed of light. The mind speed is unbelievable. So we have to control the mind, and the process is given through the scriptures and by instructions of saintly persons to how to focus. And when we are focusing these things, then we become perfectly situated in our bhakti, and there is no problems. Because in my life, many times, many devotees come and ask me, so my mind is wandering all the time, all over the place while I'm chanting japa. That's the only question they have. I said, yeah, okay, I don't have any magic powers to control your mind, but I can control my mind, you control your mind. And I give the example of a dog. How even the dog has got his own mind, but because the master has disciplined the dog so well, the dog's mind is completely under the owner's control. And the dog will not do anything independent without the master. So similarly, we, the soul, are the master of this mind. And we have to engage the mind constantly. Otherwise, the mind will engage you. One quick story which just comes to mind is about this person who is such a busybody that he wants something to do. He's always all over the place. So to keep him engaged, he says, okay, you see this banyan tree? And I don't know if you've seen a banyan tree. Maybe it's not in Switzerland, but in tropical countries, you find all these big banyan trees, giant banyan trees. And it's got so many branches and leaves. So you go to this banyan tree and take a piece of cloth and you wipe up all the leaves. So he went and he started wiping leaves. And he was going through the whole banyan tree. By the time he reaches here, new leaves have come up here. So he keeps going, and there's no stopping, because he thought that I'll finish it off, because he's such a busybody, think I can finish anything. So the point is that because he was so fully engaged, that he had no other things to do. So similar with our minds also. If he's engaged in a particular activity, then it won't wander away, and it won't go anywhere, because it is fully focused. And if you're focused, then anything you do with a focused mind becomes perfect. So on that note, I will stop here. Any comments, any questions? Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your lecture. I was just wondering how you can really see that all the offenses. All the offenses that we can make against the holy name, especially these 10, are directly related to the holy name, because if we are making offenses to someone, then we directly hurt this person, right? And how can we understand, for example, that blaspheming the devotee is directly hurting the holy name, or to not?
Well, it's not a question of hurting the holy name. Holy name can never be hurt. Holy name is the Supreme Lord. Nobody can hurt the Supreme Lord. But, as I said, the holy name is non different from Supreme Lord. And in the second canto of Bhagavatam, it's mentioned very clearly by Sukadeva Goswami that the holy name will give you everything what you want, bestow upon you. And if you commit offense against the lotus feet of the holy name, then there's no forgiveness. Now, you say, Hare Krishna, now, there's a sound vibration. Where is the lotus feet of the holy name? Because we think feet means this feet. So basically, it is a statement that if you make offense against the holy name, now the only person, suppose say, we know the story from the Srimad Bhagavatam of Amrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. When Durvasa Muni was invited for a meal at Amrish Maharaj's house on the next day of Ekadashi, and Amrish Maharaj had to break his Ekadashi fast with at least a small tiny grain, but he said, I cannot take grain because it will be again considered offense to my guest, and I'm a host. So in order to find a way out, of course, he takes just 1 or 2 drops of water and he sips. So if you are doing a complete fast, like sometimes we do the Nirjala Ekadashi, where we don't even take water, then the next day, just 1 drop of water is sufficient to break your fast. So Amrish Maharaj took just a drop. But Durvasa Muni took it as an offense that why he did not follow the etiquette and protocol of inviting a guest and eating before the guest. I mean, this is very culture, is very, very serious business. All the protocols must be followed. So Durvasa Muni took offense. But the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he did not see any offense in this. So then he invokes his Sudarshan Chakra, saying, okay, you go and deal with this Durvasa Muni. He is causing too much offenses against my devotees. So, of course, Sudarshan is coming and try to kill Durvasa Muni. But Durvasa Muni is running to Brahma, to Shiva, even finally goes to Vishnu and saying, call back your Sudarshan, why? So, well, I can't do anything. You have to go to the person whom you have offended. So, although Amrish Maharaj did not offend Durvasa, and Durvasa took it as an offense, so he was feeling that here is an offender. And then he had to come to Amrish Maharaj. And when he's coming to Amrish Maharaj and he's falling at his feet and saying, please forgive me, the Amrish Maharaj said, no. Amrish Maharaj himself is falling at the feet of Durvasa Muni and saying, no, please forgive me for my offense. So this is a Vaishnava, that he doesn't take any offense, but the Supreme Lord does. So just like, we, if you want forgiveness, I cannot ask him for forgiveness for offense committed to you. I have to come to you and say, please forgive me, Mataji, I did this offense towards you. And then you, out of your good heart, you may forgive me or you may not forgive. But at least I have done my bit to come and ask for forgiveness. That person will then forgive. So similarly, we have to ask the holy name to forgive you. Then when the holy name forgives you, then you are okay. So, in our day-to-day life, we may commit many, many offenses. Some knowingly, some unknowingly. But either way, if you're conscious all the time to reform yourself and correct yourself by asking for forgiveness, then the holy name will definitely forgive you. Yeah, just like I have this thing when I have to reading that purport by Prabhupada saying that holy name will fulfill all your desires. Even if you're not asking the holy name for your desires, but because the holy name knows these are your desires in your heart, will fulfill. So what I do is, before I start chanting my rounds, I make one prayer to the holy name, say, my dear holy name, I'm about to chant your holy name. Now, there may be some deep lurking desires in my heart. Even I don't know about my desires, what are lurking deep down there. So I pray to you that you ignore all my desires. I have no desires or anything. You please ignore every one of them, except that I want shelter of the holy name. And then I pray to the holy name like that. So when I'm praying to the holy name that I want nothing except your shelter, then even the holy name now sees that, okay, I'm praying to the holy name for only the shelter of the holy name, and I'm asking the holy name that whatever desires I may have, just ignore them. Ignore them. I don't want them. So now you are giving permission to the holy name to ignore the desires in your heart. So then holy name will of course take note of this and say, okay, I will scrape it up and I'll put delete button on this and it'll put delete. So we can otherwise if you there is no forgiveness from the offense against holy name, we are in very deep trouble. Because it is mentioned by Sukadeva Goswami that offense against Krishna, he will forgive. Offense against his holy name cannot forgive. But the holy name itself can forgive you. So we have to take that in cognition in your mind and be conscious of that yes, forgive me. And you keep praying to the holy name. And the holy name, and if you pray enough to the holy name, then holy name will listen to your prayers and fulfill them and forgive you. And then because of that forgiveness is there from the holy name, we'll start making our advancement in our spiritual progress. But as I said, sometimes even not wishing, but the mind is such crazy that we may commit some offense against someone. Even though we don't want, but we do, because that's the nature of the mind. That's why it is said that control the mind. Bring it under your control. When the mind is under your control fully, then it doesn't have independence. And if the uncontrolled mind is got full independence to do whatever he wants, and he starts putting all sorts of crazy thoughts in your mind, and then these thoughts come in your mind, then thinking and willing and then acting. It happens. So one has to be fully conscious of this, that, control the mind. And it is not impossible to control the mind. If we can control the mind of a dog, then why we cannot control our own minds? Because mind is same. In nature, the quality of the mind is the same. Your mind, my mind, dog's mind is the same. He just wants to do independent thing and want to be controller. So we have to kind of bring the mind back into focus and say, look, I'm the boss here. You're not the boss. You do as I tell you. I don't tell you as what you tell me. So sometimes the mind will say, okay, go and do this, go there, go here, enjoy this, And I say, no. If I want to enjoy, I will tell you I want to enjoy. Otherwise, no. So you have to bring the focus and then pray. Basically, our only solace is praying. Without praying, we cannot get anywhere. And of course, when you sincerely pray to the Lord and to the holy name, then they are the most compassionate. Krishna is the most compassionate of all. He's the best well-wisher of all. If Krishna loses his compassionate nature, then we are in big trouble. So of course, Krishna doesn't lose his compassion. He's always compassionate. We see in many of the pastimes of Krishna, where many devotees come, many persons come and offend Krishna in so many ways. Krishna is still forgiving. He doesn't take that to his heart. That this person has offended me. He gives opportunity for us to correct ourselves. Like Shishupal, when Shishupal was abusing Krishna, right, left, and center by so much abuse, so Krishna could have finished him off instantly. And not Krishna, but Arjuna was sitting next to Krishna. Says, hey Krishna, you may be tolerant, but I am not. I'm going to pick up my bow and I'm going to kill this guy. And Krishna says, why are you worrying? He's abusing me, no? He's not abusing you. If I can tolerate, you tolerate. But because Krishna had given the promise to Shishupal's mother that I will tolerate 100 offenses from your son. After that, he will get his due deserves. So Krishna is sitting very tolerant there, and Shishupal is just going boom, boom, boom. And he's abusing Krishna so much that he thought, he's not going to do anything to me. So he kept on, and then the count was going on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 99, and then 100, boom. Krishna says, okay, Shishupal. Sudarshan comes and chops his head off. Now even there, when Krishna chops Shishupal's head off, because he's killed by the Sudarshan of the Supreme Lord, he gets liberation. See, Krishna is so kind that he tolerates the 100 abuses. After that, he liberates him. That much compassion Krishna has. Otherwise, Krishna says, since you abuse me, that's it. You are condemned for the rest of your eternity. You're not getting any salvation. No, Krishna gave him liberation. So Krishna is very kind. And there are so many pastimes we see, in the scriptures mention how Krishna is showing his kindness and compassion to all living entities. So we just have to see that in our own practice and pray to him all the time. And as I said, our only solace is prayer, prayer, and prayer. We just have to keep praying to Krishna. And eventually, Krishna will get tired of hearing your prayers. Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll protect you. I'll give you this. He gives you. But again, see, Krishna doesn't give us what we want, because Krishna knows that some things we want may not be very good for us. It could be detrimental to us. So he doesn't give. But that which is favorable for us, Krishna will grant it very easily. So we should not ask for anything that is not favorable, but ask that which is favorable for our spiritual life. Question?
В этом стихе сказано, что абсолютное знание мы можем получить только через служение чистому преданному. Как научиться различать и чем отличается чистый преданный от других преданных? Как научиться различать, не оскорбляя при этом других преданных?
She asked a question. Hare Krishna. She asked a question about you mentioned that we can receive knowledge from the service to pure devotee, and question is how to recognize pure devotee and how not to offend how not to offend devotees in this process to trying to find pure devotee.
Well, you see, nobody is walking around with a light on the head saying, flashing, I'm a pure devotee, I'm a pure devotee. No. But we have to understand by statement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, anybody who chants Hare Krishna is a pure devotee. Because unless until you are a devotee of Krishna, the pure name of Krishna cannot come from your lips. So when someone is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then they are considered pure devotees. Of course, we think that pure devotee is of a particular quality. So we are in no position to judge. But anybody who is sincerely serving Krishna, who is chanting His holy name, is a pure devotee. So we just have to see each person as a devotee. Just like when we say the prayer which Prabhupada has given to the Vaishnavas, Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. That I offer my humble obeisance onto the Vaishnava who is full of compassion. So we have to see these persons as a devotee. And when we see that person as a devotee, then you see, purity is considered relative. What is pure in one sense may not be pure in another sense. So we are not in a position to see who is pure devotee. Anybody who is a devotee of Krishna is pure. And if you see that person is pure, because the soul is pure, then Krishna will reciprocate with you. So in that way, we don't have to look for any pure devotee. I mean, there is no such thing that anybody, like suppose in chemistry, there's litmus paper, and your litmus paper, when you put in alkaline, it changes one color. If you put in acid, it changes another color. So we don't have that litmus test that by some change of color that this person is now pure devotee. No, you cannot say. Just like Jat Bharat in this story is a pure devotee, is Mahabhagavat. But King Rahugana cannot recognize him. He just thought that he's just a bum, unclean person who's walking around. But when he starts speaking the transcendental knowledge to Rahugana, then he realized, this is not just ordinary person. So, to some extent, we can say a pure devotee, when he speaks, he only speaks about Krishna. But at the same time, as I said, in my humble understanding is that we should not look to anybody with the lens of saying, is he or she pure or not? We just see everybody is pure. And just offer our respects to them. That way, we will not commit offense against anyone. Because when we don't commit offense against anyone, then there is no question of getting any reaction or any offense. It's very simple that we see everyone with honor and respect. Okay? All right. So it's 10 to 9. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.